Hello and welcome to Clove Lake Park here on Staten Island. Today's a little bit of a different video. Usually I don't come here and film at Clove Lake, but because the weather's kind of crap, and I believe that's an Audi R8 or a Lamborghini Huracan, but whatever. I'm getting distracted. Today I wanted to reshoot the interstitial parts of a previous video I shot where I took the Skylite V2, I replaced the motors on my Skylite build. I took that for a maiden flight, and then also took my Ummagawd 2Fiddy, which I used the previous Skylite's motors to build a 250 gram all up 5-inch freestyle build. And I took both of those for a maiden out in New Jersey and in Bloomingdale Park, and I wanted to share my thoughts about both builds and share the maiden flight footage. I'm gonna make little edits of both because I flew for a long time and I don't want this video to be an hour and a half. So either way, let's get into it. Starting off with the Skylite, let's get into some flight footage. So what'd you think of the footage? Let me apologize right now. In all of the footage that you're gonna see today, I didn't have my ND filters with me. It was all filmed on the Insta360 Go. So there is some jello, my apologies. Next time I will make sure that I have those ND filters with me because oh boy, do they make a huge difference. With that said, I really like how I really like how that Skylite flies with the 1507.5 motors. It feels so much better. It feels a lot like that Baby Hawk HD, but with just some more weight and some more power. The weight makes a big difference when you're doing pitch tricks. So if you're doing like a power loop around something, when you let off the throttle, it carries a bit more, so you have a bit more float to it, and that feels really good for a lot of freestyle moves. So as a freestyle ripper and as a cinematic tool, big fan of the V2 version of my Skylite. And I think those 1507.5 motors, perfect. Now that I've got that Skylite build where I want it, let's move to where the FPV Cycle 21 millimeter motors went. The Ummagawd 2Fiddy. I know Joshua Bardwell and a few others were a little skeptical about the sub 250 gram weight limit 5-inch freestyle builds because durability is a concern. When you're making a freestyle build, you want it to be able to crash, bash, slam, and just be tough. And when you're saying that you're gonna build something that big, under 250 grams, you have to make sacrifices somewhere. Generally, that's durability. So I wasn't too skeptical because everybody I know who's flown that frame, bought that frame, has loved it to death, and it seems durable as anything. Ummagawd himself did a huge video where he basically durability tested it and crashed it into a bunch of stuff. So I was pretty confident in it. After building it up and taking it for a first rip, I'm 1000% sold. Let's take a look at that footage first, and then I'm gonna talk more about it. Here we go. That's the 2Fiddy. So it is goggle DVR, so there's no stabilization. I can put stabilization on it now with gyro flow. All I need to do is bring in the gyro data and I can stabilize it, but all in all, that thing felt locked in. I was a huge fan of how it flew. It just was aggressive, it was sharp, it was tight feeling, it was just great. And I was so impressed with how quiet that is for a full-size 5-inch, sorry, not full-size, for a 5-inch freestyle quad. It is using bi-blades, so the sound is a little different. It is a lot quieter, and because it has less weight, it takes less power to kind of huck it around. And I think that's why it really has that sharp locked-in feel. It's amazing. I'm actually really impressed with it. I can't wait to get out and put a few more packs through it. During that maiden flight session, I put 2 batteries to it in the morning, and then in the afternoon I put another 3. Combination of 850 milliamp hour 4Ss and 650 milliamp hour 4Ss. And between all of them, it performed great. Solid. I have no complaints. It was just spectacular. I really have 2 takeaways from these maiden flights. First, the motor size is insurmountably important when building a quad, because if you go too big, it ends up just being too much. It really doesn't utilize the motor. It doesn't feel good in any respect. Go too small, quad doesn't have enough power. So there really is a right-sized motor for each quad. And my best recommendation for figuring that out, if you don't want to do the math or anything like that, look at a similar build. Go on to iFlight, go on to Emacs, go on to any of these bind and fly quad builders, look at what they're speccing with a prop, and match that motor size. You'll probably be pretty good, if not right on, with that motor choice. That would be my recommendation. Obviously, experiment, play. I experimented, played, I was wrong. Eventually, I was right. So now I have 2 3-inch builds that I'm extremely happy with. I love them, and I really think for freestyle, that 3.5-inch size is my bread and butter. It's just so sharp, so small, so quiet. It really is stealthy, so going out for little park rips is a little easier, and it also uses those little 4S batteries, so it's just a little quicker to charge. Everything about it is a little nicer, simpler, and cleaner. With that said, the 2Fiddy may be the belle of the ball for these flights. I didn't expect it to fly nearly as good as it did. That thing rips. It was fast, it was fun, it was sharp, it was just locked in. It felt amazing, and it's probably one of my new favorite 5-inch freestyle builds. Definitely gonna keep taking that thing out with me when I go to park sessions, because sometimes it's nicer to have something that has a little more juice in it. And it really is about the same noise level as those 3-inch. It's also not too heavy, so it's not gonna cause a ton of damage if it hits something, both to itself and what it hits. So it's a little bit more comfortable to fly that aggressively in tighter spaces, closer proximity. Really, really like it. So I am now a big fan of the kind of sub 250 gram builds, whether it's a Cinewhoop, a 5-inch freestyle, or a 3.5-inch, all are excellent. With that said, I did take my big 5-inch Skyliner out for a rip after flying the 2Fiddy and the Skylite, and there's no substitute for that power. While I loved flying the 3-inch and the sub 250 gram 5-inch, the Ummagawd, with those tri-blade props, 6S power, and big motors, that Skyliner feels great. It is incredibly fast. Even when you get into trouble, it's got all the power to pull you out of it. So that said, my real conclusion is I love drones, I love all of them, and variety is the spice of life. Which is technically not a conclusion, but for me the real conclusion was I now have the right size motor on that Skylite, flies beautifully, and I love the way that 2Fiddy flies with that 21mm FPV cycle motor. If you're looking for new quads to build, highly recommend a 3.5-inch if you're into freestyle and don't have one. They fly great, even with an action camera on it. It just is amazing. And then if you don't have one yet, try flying or try building a sub 250 gram all up 5-inch. It's really challenging because those parts, you need to be very particular about your part choices, and you need to count your grams like nothing else. But when you're done and you fly it, nothing like it. So with that said, thank you all for joining me today on this walk. It was fun, and I'm looking for slightly nicer weather so I can go out and fly again. I will see you all in the next video. Peace, bye.